we live? I have no idea if we're live. You are live. Ah, there we go. We're live. Welcome to the... Oh god, now everything's falling apart. There we go. Welcome to the live stream of Defeat, where we've got a million HDMI cameras and a million HDMI capture cards, and even composite capture cards, yet none of them work. So we're watching on a $20 webcam. Anyway, I'm going to be trying to replace the shutter mechanism in my old Canon 1000D because it's not supposed to make that sound. Got a new one straight out of China right here, which I think should be decent. I'm not sure if it's really cheap Chinese garbage or whatever it might be. That beeping noise is the soldering iron making an ass out of itself. You are live. How are you? I'm just fine, save for all the things which are falling apart. For a $20, that's excellent footage, says Rector Magnificus, and that's just because I've got my ridiculously bright lighting in here. It really is ridiculous, because I've got perfect gear to actually stream over HDMI, but my cheap capture cards are just so bad. All my good cameras support HDMI output, clean HDMI output, so it would be no deal. But alas, I need to spend big money to get a useful capture card. We do have a camera boom, so at least we can zoom in on this thing. So this is a new shutter for the 1000D. It looks pretty decent. That soldering iron is not going to shut up, is it? I've also got no proper way of monitoring my audio, so do let me know if it's absolutely dreadful. I'm using some new version of OBS which has internal compression. I'm not sure if I've got it set up to any useful extent. But yeah, that's the shutter. I've got a YouTube video for this. Oh, shut up, you bloody thing, Jesus! This old soldering iron reel is starting to wear out. I need to get a new pen. We are going to need it for this job as well, so we need to make sure it's in useful condition. I've also got no useful live video monitoring. Like, the only monitor is over there, about a meter behind me on this new bench, so I've actually got no idea what I'm actually putting on the camera. I haven't solved the problem of video monitoring in this new workshop yet. And this is just isopropyl alcohol I'm putting on this to try and make a connection. Like, the issue with these, this is an Aoye 2901 soldering station. The issue is that the connections in the pen just get dirty and grimy over time, and it starts making a bad connection, and the station gets confused as to what the actual temperature of the tip is. Filling it up with alcohols usually helps out, but you can see this pen is just pretty much crap. I'm still hoping it sticks together. Audio is good. Some over speech when you come close or speak too loud. The rest is fine. Okay, yeah. We're gonna go with everything is fine. Audio is clipping slightly. Well, that's good because in my monitoring system I've got way low levels. Someone says they just bought an 800D. I've got mine ticking away with my giant new battery pack for it. My battery is bigger than yours. Anyway, let's try and get this thing apart. I do have a lens cover somewhere, but I'm not sure where it would actually be. So there's the shutter, which is the part that has failed. Ah, fucking soldering. One moment. Stop being a dick. Fuck. The new OE pens have much higher build quality than the old style, which is what I've got. So I should probably just order one of those. They're like 20 euros anyway. Can confirm that the audio is distorting slightly here. I'll just move the mic away a couple centimeters. Hope for the best. Are you still going to try and fix it? Am I still going to try and fix what? Really? Are we just gonna have to put up with that beeping all night? Could be my tips fucked as well. Anyway, let's just ignore it and move on. I've got a YouTube video of some dude taking one of these apart. Fine. Let's just not turn the soldering iron on until we need it. And the YouTube guy starts by taking out these screws. I'm not sure how this is actually supposed to come apart. We've got well, that can't get out of the way. So it seems to be a bit of a clamshell. Usually these cameras come apart with a front and back clamshell. We've got screws in here underneath the strap, so I'm gonna have to take the strap off for starters, else we don't stand a chance getting in there. Are you going to try and fix the camera? Yeah. And this is my broken EOS one. Yeah. For those who aren't aware, this is my ancient broken Canon EOS 1000D. It's not the new one, don't worry. That one's sitting behind me taking pictures. This thing is from 2009. It's got 150,000 shot actuations, and it's absolutely worn down. It's seen better days, but I did get my value for money out of it, and I intend to get more, since it's actually a usefully decent camera still. Could you move the camera a little bit down, please? Focus is a little bit off. It's just this webcam is a piece of trash. It fails to focus on the board, on this textured board. So since we're sitting at my new bench, I haven't figured out a decent pattern to put on this yet. The old one had that lovely, you know, the FF Cossack numbered squares on it, and they provided excellent focusing support for all kinds of cameras, but this bench is nowhere near as good. And I noticed we've got parts coming out of the camera. Come on. These tweezers are garbage too. Many things I own are garbage. Come on. Oh yeah. That's a little metal thing which you definitely can't make out, but it's gonna be one of the rivets holding the metal pieces, or of the metal, these things together. So one of those has come out, and I think one of the shutter blades is just pretty much flopping around in the breeze. It's not attached to anything. So we'll just slide that off to the side and start taking the camera apart. There's probably going to be a question of undoing every screw. Oh, Jesus. Are we ever going to find that one again? Oh God. Oh, there we go. Phew. Never lost it. Viago Oliveira says, I used to like the old one. You used to like the old witch. Let's magnetise this thing so we don't have any more screws flying around. Anyway, for those who are just joining us, we're going to be replacing the shutter in this Canon 1000D because it's fallen apart due to old age. And I'm not going to scrap this camera just because the shutter's broken, because you can get a new one on eBay for like $20. But getting into these is usually a decent sized project, so we need to be smart about how we actually arrange the screws. And we've got one here on the like a dioptic thingy. I'm not sure if we have to take that off or not. I'm not sure if we have to open up the flash in order to get into it. Hopefully not, because it won't open, because it won't boot properly. Scary. And I think we've got all the screws from the back side out, because yeah, there's just these plus the dioptic thing. Let's just undo the dioptic thing as well, just for good measure. This is when something is plying on the inside and we never get it back together. There we go. Oh wow, that's a decently advanced part. You can't see it because we're on the crap camera, but it's a fancy plastic thing. There's like a clutch mechanism there, so the button just pops out and doesn't seem to undo anything on the inside. That's good. I used to like the old table. Oh, yeah. The old table was... it had its advantages in that it was... well, labelled. It had character, but it was made out of untreated MDF. So if I as much as spilled a drop of liquid on it, it would swell up and basically turn into a giant sponge, which is not very good for a workbench. In fact, it was absolutely terrible, and I can't believe I made it for 7 or 8 years without ever spilling anything on it. And I never could wipe it off. You know, you can't take a moist cloth and wipe off a raw MDF table, and that screw's bloody well kept in tight. That's no good. Oh dear. Huh, we've got a minor fire going. A minor fire indeed. Huh. That candle's going wild. Let's just... ah, yeah. The wicks just collapsed. First I smelled something burning. I need to keep an eye on that. Are you going to draw something on the new table? No, because it wouldn't stick since this is a plastic surface and I wipe it off. Because when you haven't had a chance to wipe your table off for 7 years, it's not a bad thing to get used to. Actually keeping it clean. I don't even want to know all the disgusting things. So this coming, this is going to be forever stuck. I don't even want to know all the disgusting things which had just soaked into my old bench over the years. It must have been like a chemical wasteland on the inside. It lives on though. I've turned it into shelving for the most part. So do I have more screws around the top of the camera? Does this pop off? No, that seems to be very well stuck in. I think at some stage we're actually going to have to take this cap off, since there's no split in the clamshell around it. But then again, we might not even have to get that deep into the camera. Depends on if the shutter mechanism is accessed from the front or the back, because the clamshell's going around here basically. So the back side of the camera is basically going to pop off. Do I have screws in there? Nope. So let's just move to the side. That candle's still going wild. Someone said get a magnet for them parts. No, the way I do parts, let's just get the camera a bit closer. The way I sort screws is I just line them up in the layout of the camera. So this here is the back side, this is the top side, and we're going to have the front side here, all the sides here, and the bottom comes way over here. So I just have a physical layout similar to the device. I can do that now since I've got a proper bench. There we go. Alright. Use a rubber hammer, lol. That would work once. Linus Johansson says, I usually disassemble cameras on top of a plain kitchen towel, stuff the screws from basic away like on a hard surface. Sorry to get old YouTube commenter knows better than you. That's a decent point. That is a decent point. I can't be bothered going to get one though. So I'll just suffer through this. Rubber car mats would probably keep your bench top nice. That's actually not that bad of an idea for like you could very well keep like a small piece of cheap rubber car mat underneath your workpiece. Like if I had that under here and I dropped a screw, it would probably just thud down and get stuck in one of the squares. That's not actually that bad of an idea. So now we've got just 2 screws on this side because there's nothing under there. How about just 2 screws on that side? So we'll move on to the bottom. At some point this camera's just going to explode into a million pieces. I need to divide my pieces up. That's a random hole. Okay. Oh, yeah. You can just see how worn out this thing is. I usually spin it onto my tripod and it's just worn down the plastic over time. This camera's been around. I do hope we can get it running again. It would be kind of cool to do like an astrophotographer modification to it, make it take weird pictures, but I don't think you can easily remove the internal filters, sadly. Now that one goes... oh god, I've confused myself. That one goes there. Basically every screw thus far is of a different length, so this thing is going to be a nightmare if I accidentally screw the screws up. Cool advantage of the big bench screwing map, there's these magnetic trays like fridge magnet type numbered squares with sort fasteners. Ah yeah, sure, I could use those, but I don't mind just stacking them up on the side and put them in a sorted box if I need to. Get them, store them for a longer period of time than just one job. So as it's starting to come apart, I can feel it wanting to split slightly. Right. We've got some mobility. We have got some mobility. Oh, that was a springy noise. Is this just going to pop off here? First part off. However, focus on this camera is awful. Focus, please. Yeah, it's not going to focus. So that's a PCB, and there's a cogwheel. Is that a part of a shutter mechanism? Is that? Oh yeah, that's a part of a shutter mechanism. It goes like so. You can just make out the cogwheel there. That would be probably this cogwheel here. Maybe? We'll find out. I hope it's the right shutter. Would be annoying if it wasn't. So while still keeping this on, let's just undo this screw as well. Undo all the screws. And that one's on the underside. Very far to the front of the camera, so that's... Oh god, I've confused myself already. That's going to go there. So what's keeping this thing together? It feels as if it's just kind of... Oh, there we go. We've got a split. Now this is where the real fun starts, because we've got about 1 million flat flexes here. I'm just gonna take a couple of pictures to remind myself, because else this is never going back together. Not in a million years. Oh god. Now you get to see the joy of trying to take a picture of this thing. So, there we go. The Panasonic VX980 is very confusing to adjust from manual settings. I had it in semi-manual and had to dig through half of a touchscreen just in order to reset it. There we go, that's how to do it. Right. So I actually want to check that YouTube video for a sec in order to see which direction I want to go. If I want to try and get into this from behind, or if I want to get it from the front. That guy seems to be doing it from behind. I'll paste. That's the disassembly video I'm using for a control, if anybody wants to have a look at it. Right, so from here, this is where it all gets messy. I was undoing the screws around the front, so we probably want to keep on just undoing all the screws. And perhaps not the ones for the lens mount, but all the ones that hold the body together. I would wager, these are tight, very tight. Man, these are tight. Very tight. Now that one's for which side? For that side. Braver soul than me, I was hesitant to take my Panasonic HC V110 camcorder apart when I first got it. I'd never get into DSLR. Well, this DSLR is broken, and it's very old and mine and very worn out. So it's either I throw it away or I fix it. So there's nothing to lose in taking this apart. Now I need to double check that YouTube video. There are so many possibilities. I want to know which of the screws around the front actually need. Okay, we need to get the black. We need to get the front case off, and that seems to come apart separate from the lens mount, which seems to be mounted to the metal frame. These are incredibly tight. Ridiculously tight. Oh wow. The rubber exterior even starts to come off of this. Nice post sauna chill out live stream for me, says CGIO F3LN. I'm envious. I wish I had a sauna. I might be building a sauna in a couple of years, maybe, depending on how things go. So this probably has to clip out there. Yeah, there we go. Have to clip over the tripod mount. It seems pretty loose by now. Pop. There we go. Now we get to enjoy all the dirt and muck inside of this thing. That's surprisingly clean, actually, given how much this thing's been around. There's a bit of dust, but well less than I actually expected. There's this. Come on. There we go. Ah, shit. I'll put that to one side. Well, that's very loose. I was probably about to rip about 5 flat flexes there. So here's more of a shutter mechanism getting exposed. We can. That's as far down as we can go. Ah, man. Oh god, the control application for the camera has crashed. It is crashed and I cannot kill Team Device in the Task Manager. And I think I can't adjust the exposure on the camera without that application, so I'll just have to bring in a bit more light. Oh, I've got light. There we go. So this is the shutter mechanism here, part of it. We can see it's looking very similar to the new one. That's a good thing. Yep, this could very well be compatible. Excellente. That means I haven't ordered the entirely wrong part. So I'm still not sure if we access the shutter from the front or behind. Get to the mirror, and there's a metal frame which wraps around here, which does seem to mount onto the shutter. And this has to be the sensor can here. You probably don't want to disturb that unless you really have to. So the shutter's got a few mounts. Nothing seems to thread into it, so it has to be clamped. There are screws, like we've got a screw there which is attaching to the shutter. I need to check the YouTube video again. Since I do have the internet, it seems silly to not use it to its full advantage. Super stale coffee. So the YouTube guy is just mongering the top part off, so we will do that as well. He seems to be in a hurry, and people in a hurry tend to do things quickly and efficiently. So we've got quite a few flat flexes going to the top part. This is the obvious one. Going to the probably mode selector switch. Out you come. And then we've got, there's one going through to the shutter button, but that one seems to be almost just wrapping around. I've got, that's going to make everything more obvious, yeah. Ooh, that's dirty on the top there, very dirty. So I think we've just got the flash wiring left, really. That is these wires. This does not feel very nice. Oh. There comes flash wire number 1. Flash wire number 2. There we go. The engineering of these cameras is pretty amazing. Just look at all that stuff. If we can get some light there. There we go. So many custom flat flexes. Single purpose devices. Absolutely gorgeous. Not bad at all. So we'll put that to one side. And here we can see. Well, I can see, you can't. This is full of dust and dirt and grime. Yuck. Ugh. Clouds of dust coming out of this thing. Next, the YouTube guy is undoing flat flexes around the back, undoing screws around the back. He's going round the back. Yeah, seems we're going to be going round the back. Oh god, now the stream stopped. As the stream stopped. Oh no, the stream hasn't stopped. Right. We are exposing more of a shutter mechanism, that's the motor. But I think we pretty much have to undo almost all of these flat flexes. Oh wow, they're coming nice. I think the whole like rear shutter module comes off. Flat flexes, they are terrifying, so easy to rip. And if you rip a flat flex, it's rip your camera, haha. Oh god, this one looks absolutely awful. It's got a hole in it. I think you're supposed to just rip it out because there seems to be no locking mechanism on the actual connector, which seems absolutely terrifying. Yeah, there's another one. You're definitely supposed to just rip these out. Oh god. This is so wrong. Okay, that one's fine. They're not in there very tight. Phew. Try a Doogee mix phone and some Orchia lenses. I have no idea what you're talking about. So this is the sensor connector. We'll probably want to undo that. It looks pretty sensible to get out anyway, so might as well pop. There we go. So the question is, does this come out as a module or does it come out as a just bare PCB? To the Russian guy on YouTube, what does he do? He is undoing all the flat flexes, so I haven't done that wrong. And he's undoing screws for the PCB. He gets a PCB out as a PCB and not a module. So we've got about 1 million more screws to undo. Because this whole thing here is one PCB. With 1 million little metal pieces attached to it. This feels wrong. I don't particularly fancy working on cameras. Biggest reason I'm taking this thing apart at all is because I keep wishing I had another decent-ish camera for stills lying around, because I always need one, and I've always got my compact camera in my bag. which is never ever in the workshop. So does this come out? What's still keeping this in? So what is keeping this in? Well, let's undo this big guy. I'll make an attempt. Need a knife. That should be. So what's these? There we go. We connect it out. Is that like a board interconnector there which is holding everything together? Something in the top part is holding this board in place. I've got no idea what it might be. Oh, a screw. Ah, there we go. That feels better. I think this just pops out now. Ah, so many springy things making springy noises. This is terrifying. Out you come. One main board. Nothing much to see in these. They're so tiny and miniaturized. Off to one side. And now what? Do I have to? I think we're probably gonna end up removing pretty much everything. Let's see, does the guy on YouTube take out the next board down? He takes out the sensor. If anything, should take out the next board down. Okay. Let's get the sensor out then. Now, this is curious. It could be any number of screws. It seems the sensor is attached to a metal frame, which is then attached to the bigger metal frame, but I'm not sure if we start by taking the metal backing. The metal can seems to be attached to the frame separately. But the YouTube dude takes everything out as one unit, so we'll try that. I don't know, let's just undo screws. If we undo enough screws, then things are probably going to fall apart. Ah. I think that one goes to sensor frame. Jesus, these are tight and long and hard. So, do we need to undo more? What's keeping this in place? I think this one might be keeping everything in place. It's long. Let's undo all of them. God, fucking hell! They have been sitting there for almost a decade, so I guess I can't blame them for being tight. Come on, out you come. Do we need to get some parts of the top optical assembly out? I don't think the video guy did that. That should come pretty clear. What's holding this in? It's loose. Perhaps I just need to lift it out very, very straight. Come on. What are you attached to? Huh. Are there flat flexes? There's something springy holding this in place. Something very, very springy. Confusing. You don't want to undo these in the wrong order either, because the risk of something going sprawling is so huge, and then we'll never ever get it back together. Could be that one screw, maybe. Reveal your secrets. Oh yeah, it is this screw with a bit of black goop on it that's holding everything together with a bit of spring tension. Now this should pop out once we get the plastic goop off. Come on. Stop being awful. Ah man, this is... There we go. That's hardcore elastic. Now I think we're getting somewhere. Maybe. Perhaps not. It feels as if it's still stuck. Could be this screw in this corner. Let's undo it anyway. Yeah, that feels better. I think we might be getting our sensor. One flat flex left. Ta-da! One APS-C sensor. Pretty clean, given its age. Now we will put that to one side and move on. And here we can see our absolutely destroyed shutter. If I can get some light on there, that would be nice. So that blade is supposed to be not entirely stuck. Huh. It seems to be just worn out the plastic over the years, and it's just popped loose. Is it a middle blade? I think it's a middle blade. So that is entirely fucked. Took 150,000 shots to get there. Right, halfway there I think. And I need to go to the bathroom, so I will be back in a moment. Enjoy yourselves. I'm back on an unrelated note. There's the new camera, and it just ran out of battery in this 40 watt hour battery grip I've made. It's been shooting a time lapse for 41 minutes on battery, and it still has enough capacity to boot up. Probably take a picture too. Yep. Pretty sweet. Now it's going to charge for a day or two. If I can find the charger. There we go, back to the task at hand. Right. The camera is an onion. You peel layer after layer and in the end all you got is tears. Yes, that is very true. Excellent sound. You could actually hear you urinated. No, you could hear me flushing the toilet because the pipe is running through the basement. Right. So the shutter is attached to this metal frame here, which is attached all over. I wonder, I need to reference a YouTube video again. Or can I? There we go. Oh God. This old laptop here is too slow for YouTube. It's just 11 years old. The guy is taking out all of... Oh man, these tweezers are such garbage. Such garbage. Trash in the kingdom of trash. I once dropped these onto the floor and they landed on the concrete floor right at the end there, so one of the ends is entirely fucked. 100% fucked. But these seem to come out. Yep. And that goes there. Now that goes away, flying. Here it goes. There. That's what the long screws were for. Was the next step. Oh, there's even more of those. Out you come. Ooh. Oh wow, that was double. Jesus. Two tiny little shimps stacked on top of each other. One copper, one steel. Huh. And now the dude is undoing this metal frame, so we'll do that. It's about another million more screws. Some people are speaking Swedish. Hej hej kompisar. Svenskar och finnar överallt. Haha, jag är mitt emellan. So this thing's got screws. Oh god, it's got screws all over. The video I'm watching also removed this little board. I'm not entirely sure how necessary that's going to be, because I can't see any fasteners underneath. I don't think we have to undo that. let's just undo all the screws for the frame. I'm not sure which of these. Perhaps this could be that this frame comes out together with the shutter. Ah, the torque in some of these, it's ridiculous. Jesus. And do we need to undo the bottom tripod mounts? Not for the time being, I don't think. We'll just undo all the others. Oh, okay. That came off. Yeah, this is one of those scenarios where you're not undoing a part, you are undoing everything around the part, because that's the entire SD card / battery compartment we've got coming off here. 2 connectors left. Come on, off you come. Don't break. Pop. And there is our flash cap. It's going to be discharged. Rubicon branded, 330 volts. I can't see the capacitance. And what's this other cap? Also a Rubicon, 16 volts, 220. Flash transformer in there. Cute. This seems to be basically the power supply section for everything. We'll put that to one side. That's oh. Here's a shim, which I've got no idea where it's gonna go. And it's so bright you can't even see it. There you go. This belongs to one of the shims we took out. I'll just put it with a random one. I don't think it quite matters. This is such a crappy camera anyway. Right, so this screw is still keeping it in. Yeah, we want to undo all the screws from this metal frame. If my wrists survive. Right, one goes. Thus far, all the screws for this particular frame have been identical, which is very nice. I'll have to try and use this beefier screwdriver. This tends to have bits which are a bit too fat for most screws, so I am afraid it might not work, but it's worth a shot. I do not wish to even risk camming out one of these screws, because then we are royally screwed. Yeah, these bits do not feel very good. No, we're not doing that. I touch a lot of bits and I know all about how they're supposed to feel. Perhaps we can even go one step up in size on these. Nope. This Philips Zero is our only hope. Someone speaking Chinese. I do not speak Chinese. I think we're getting somewhat close though. So, what's still holding this in place? A lot of stuff, because it's not flopping around even in the slightest. So, what? Ah, 2 screws around the bottom, holding it onto the tripod mount. Ooh. Getting this back together is going to be such a nightmare. It's starting to wobble around a bit. What's left to get out? Is there even anything? Is it just kind of lodged in there? We will use brute force. Oh god, this metal is so thin. I'll just undo the tripod. Tripod mount. Fucking hell. These screws are so heavy to turn. Platypus Fawn says, "Waves. I know you love your IPA syringe, but have you considered one of those fairly cheap squeezy nozzle bottles?" I'm not sure what you're talking about. I might check it out later. So there's the tripod mount. Off to one side you go. So is this coming out? Is this coming out? There are so many flat flexes rated through this thing. Oh god. Oh god. I feel like I'm undoing cobwebs, except I'm not allowed to break them. This little metal piece has to come off. Fucking hell. I am so close to ripping this one flat flex. This one's almost a goner because it's ripped. Oh, we got it. I'm just gonna put this piece back while I'm working on it, because I'm never ever going to be able to figure out which way around it goes if I take it off. There we go. We made it without undoing this PCB. So we skipped a step compared to the YouTube Canon service guy. Okay, so we really have exposed a majority of the shutter mechanism. This does look very, very similar. Yeah, I think we just need to undo a bunch of screws now and we're going to be good to go. Ed Neal asks, what are the chances of this thing going back together in one piece? Very high. I've had cameras apart before. It just takes a while. It's going to go back together. So we've got this screw down here, this screw up here. A lot of screws are already undone. There all seems to be just 2 left. I think we are 2 screws away from replacing this, and I think we need to heat up. Yeah, we need to heat up a soldering iron, i.e. the fire alarm, and solder the motor in place, because that's actually soldered in since it's such a high current application. So on goes the soldering line. You have to put out up with the beeping for 10 minutes or so. That screw comes there. The screw farm is just kind of growing into the whole desk. Just look at that. Big exploded field of screws, and you can't even see half of them because it's overexposed. And I can't adjust the exposure since the application of the camera's crashed. I think this is the last screw. And the longest. Like Mr. Hands, the longest one was the last one we ever took out. I hope someone gets that reference. Yeah. Now we just need to remember that the black lead for the shutter motor goes on top. And then I think we can put our new one in. Solder. Oh god. I am about to toss all my solder rolls onto the bench. I told you so, says hello all. Hello, I told you so. Alright. Solder there. Oh, don't even need the tweezers, they pop off on their own. Come on, off you come. Oh. So this connector over here is the wiring for the shutter motor, which just runs in front of everything to the actual shutter. So when we lift this off, the shutter should... it's not just... Oh god! We have a spring connecting it to the mirror. Oh god this. We've got a new spring on the new shutter, so we can spring that without feeling too bad about it, but you can see this spring here is latching onto the mirror. You can't see properly because we don't have exposure control, fucking hell. But yeah, this is gonna go spring and fly away. And now, oh, our shutter. So, in order to remove the shutter, you need to remove all the pieces save for these. Talk about building something around a part. So, let's autopsy the shutter before we try and put everything back together. So I would kind of like to just get it to actuate so we can see the failure mode. Oh, hello. The shutter blade's coming out the top of the actual shutter, and it's really lodged in there between something. Oh, it's on the wrong side of the bottom blade there, so we'll poke that down with brute force. Can't just rip this out. I think, man, this is high tech. It's definitely on the wrong side. So we need to monger that around. Huh. How has it managed to flip this far out of place? Because it's really, I mean, it's 90 degrees rotated. Granted, this thing is very... Oh wow. It's failed so hard, you're probably not going to be able to see it, but this metal arm that's actuating the bottom blade is actually bent from this thing just jumping loose and kind of getting in the way of everything. There's a fair amount of energy in one of these when it's moving. And it has to move pretty fast. I wonder whether this is still attached though. Yeah, it's attached there, so if we just brute force. Ah, come on, I want to get this thing to open. I want to get this shutter to open one last time. Come on. Open, damn you. Come on. Ah no, now we've just made everything worse. It's stuck even further closed. Should we just give up on this? Can we just rip the whole bloody blade out? Yeah. There we go. It's still fucked up though. It is entirely fucked. Well, we can at least move it around now. Open it, but the bottom two blades are just kind of stuck down there because hey, you know what? When I look at this, I'm pretty sure the failure hasn't been of a plastic part, because if you were here to see it in the beginning of the live stream, I took out this tiny little metal piece. Let's see if we can get it on here. Come on. This was flopping around in the camera, and that's the mount that used to go there. That's sheared off. You can see how there's supposed to be a hat there. So that's sheared off, and the shutter blades fallen off and gotten jammed 90 degrees and ruined the rest of the mechanism. So, it's not because the thin plastic shutter blades broken, it's because the metal fixing for it has broken. Who would have guessed that? It's probably because these metal parts are so much heavier than the plastic ones that they just kind of want to wobble around and wear out quicker over time. Curious. Plastic, not a bad material. So let's get the camera back together, or try. I'll put that to yet another side. I'm running out of sides here, so I should probably try and blow this out to the best of my ability. Isn't really anything you can't access from the outside of one of these. There's the mirror look. The mirror should actually be really worn out as well, because that one flaps. Also flaps once every time it operates. That mechanism seems to still be keeping up decently well. There are some really rather worn out plastic. You know what? I'm going to put some grease onto this mirror, because I think that's going to help it in the long term. I have, of course, misplaced my grease. where's my grease? Back in a sec, hunting for grease. I still have no idea where my grease has gone. Oh well, here's my secondary grease. There's no molybdenum in it, so it's not really as good as my usual grease, but it'll have to do. It will have to do. I can see the parts were greased from the factory. So it's probably gonna be good enough. The lovely part is I'm gonna be covered with grease while we're putting together this really sanitary camera. So I'll just take the tiniest dab and try and squeeze it onto the friction points. I really don't want to have too much of this stuff because it could potentially fling onto the sensor. There are a couple of plastic pins in here which really seem to be wearing out a bit. How's that turning out? Just a little bit more of that, and I think we're good. Yeah, that's grease and all the moving parts right there. The ones with rub anyway. So we'll get rid of the excess, because I really don't want to have grease stains on my sensor. That would be rather annoying. Like so. Yeah, we'll put this tube away precariously. It's brake line, like brake grease, automotive brake grease, so it's not exactly the cleanest tube in the box. Yuck. Yeah. Careful with the grease. Other models of Canon camera had a problem with the shutter sticking to the lubrication due to thick. This caused BSOD. Well, this particular model actually has an issue. with that where the mirror would get stuck to this foam up here. Mine hasn't suffered that failure, probably because it's been used so much. But yeah, I don't think we're gonna run into any issues. Let's get this bloody thing back together before I forget how it goes. Black lead on top for the motor anyway. And where the hell is this flat flex supposed to go? It goes to the top there. Right. In you go. This is not the easiest of tasks. There are many things which need to line up. This. How does this work? This arm is spring loaded and it's getting in the way when I try to get it in place. And this spring hooks onto the mirror. Okay, so I need to hold this down basically. Okay. Mental note, it's okay to use some brute force in this because we need to overcome the spring tension. Is this going on the right way around? Yes, it is. Gah. There the motor leads came out. That's not the best thing. Oh, is it coming? I think we got it. I am quite sure that is in there correctly. So now we just need to remember which screws go where. I think these are supposed to hold this in place, and we need to figure out how to actually get that spring to latch onto the mirror, because that's all out of whack right now. But we'll mount this in so it doesn't fall out and make a mess. Right, mirror spring. Oh no, this was on the wrong side. Oh no, I think I mounted this in the wrong orientation, but we might be able to fix that. Like the let's see. Where are we? This arm is supposed to be on the bottom side. There's a little lever which pokes in here, which actuates the mirror, like so. This arm needs to be underneath that. I've got it on top of it, which is making it not actuate at all. But I think if we just fold this up very, very gently, we can just kind of pry the mirror arm past, because we've got plenty of slack, so we'll just poke that and poke this. Come on, get poked, please get poked. that is not going to be poked. Let's try again from the top. Now come on, screw. Stop screwing around. As you can kind of see, has the arm that's poking out. Yeah, that's just pitch black to you. Lovely. Thank you, Logitech. Oh, what's an annoying issue? Come on, there we go. Now it's on the right side. Now the mirror is springing. No, oh fuck. Undid all that hard work. Now I'm pretty sure we still need to get this one little spring on top of the mirror arm, because else there's nothing to actually hold the mirror mechanism tight onto the shutter mechanism. And that's the spring, and there we go. It is actuated. So now the mirror is spring loaded and actuated by the shutter mechanism, as it is intended to do. Excellent. So now we need to quickly screw this in place before it explodes, and then wire up the motor. This is the part where it just is going to go together at 10 times the speed that it came apart, because that's usually how this goes. Someone's complaining about me not reading the chat. Sorry. No time for chat. I've got work to do. I'm not here to entertain you, damn it. Oh, that's all the test points on that flat flex. Now that goes somewhere. Right, focus on the task at hand. We need to wire up the motor with a negative lead on top. Now this goes kind of across there, just poked in place. In fact, we'll just solder that in before we rate the wire, since it's possible to do that. Oh, tiny wire. Hey, the soldering iron's been shutting up. That's good. That's the black wire and the red wire. There we go. Shutter motor soldered in. And the wire's rated. Now we can put the soldering iron away. Okay, now I just need to remember which exact order all these parts came out. So the battery compartment thing pretty much came apart at the same time as the what's it called, frame thing over there, so we'll just kind of poke that on there. Oh god, this is so intricate. It's not at all intuitively obvious. Wow, this is dirty. It's not at all intuitively obvious how this really comes apart. Probably easiest to attach these wires prior to, or rather this wire, prior to mounting it as well, because that's partially obscured by the lens mount. The other one's fine. So I think this just kind of, yeah, there's nothing to support that until we get this metal frame back in. That entails getting this flat flex through the gauntlet of sharp metal pieces. I'm happy I put this little thing back on there, because else I would never ever remember which way around it goes. That screw went flying. Is this part important? Do we have another screw? I think that might be an M2, so I'll just... Man, that's annoying. Can we find that? BRB chasing screw. Oh, you're joking. I found it. I found the screw lying on the floor. What a miracle. If a god exists. Thank you. We were just discussing things flying across the room. Well, right, so it wasn't a god involved, then you were just psychic. Right, metal frame time. Man, I really wish I could get this bloody Logitech application to work so I could adjust the camera, but it really is not happening. Oh god, I think I've ruined everything now. I think I've destroyed everything. Hang on. Technical difficulties. Oh yeah, I can't even show you a technical difficulties screen because the camera is dead. Give me a while. So I tried deactivating the camera and it just stopped. This has not gone well. I think the driver for the camera has just kind of stopped. I'm gonna try and just remove it from the device manager for a second. Hopefully that will get the driver to stop locking up. Oh god. It's crashed so hard that it won't even uninstall the camera without rebooting the computer. I don't think there's a way around it. I have to reboot the computer. So I'll be back in like 2 minutes. The stream's gonna go down. I don't think it's gonna make a new URL or anything, so stick around. I'll be back in a moment.